Hey everyone, welcome back. So I've been wanting to review this product and I was really hesitant about getting these, but thankfully FWEE actually reached out to me to sponsor today's video. They were kind enough to send me some of their new lip products. These are their 3D voluming gloss, and these come in two different pigmentations, a 30% and 70%. Something that I've actually wanted to see in the Korean beauty market. So they sent me 4 different shades. There does include a black shade, which I'm really excited for as well.
As the name says, it's supposed to have a 3D volume like gloss finish. It's supposed to be super glossy. Fill in the wrinkles in your lips to give a very beautiful juice pout. Especially for the glossy finish, it's supposed to, even after 30 minutes, you're supposed to have a very glossy. It's also supposed to be super moisturizing with the gel and oil-like formula.
You know the drill, we're going to be doing lip swatches, comparison swatch, as well as transfer test as well. So let's go ahead and get started. So starting off first, this is vanilla in the 30% pigmentation. This is described as being a neutral nude pink shade, and this is a light warm color. It does look quite similar to the promotional picture. You have a very sheer pink color, sort of a semi-mute pink. It's very MLBB. And right after the bat, you can see that the glossy finish looks really good. Super glossy, and it does fill the wrinkles of your lips to give a very beautiful juicy pout. On different angles of the lips, it has a very glossy finish. Sort of this lifter gloss formula, and it does feel very moisturizing on the lips as well. I would say it's semi-thick. It does have a very similar formula to Roman's Glasting Color Gloss. Both of these formulas also do fill in the wrinkles of the lips, very glossy finishes, and they do apply quite sheer. I've tried these two products from FWEE. The Glowy Jelly Pot is a glossy finish. Their Glowy Jelly Pot doesn't have much of a stain, and I was hoping that this product would have a stain, but with these type of formulas, they typically do not. So they function more as a lifter gloss. It does have a gel and oil-like formula to it, very similar to Roman's. And for the oiliness, it is a little bit more thick. Let's go in with the full look, and then we'll talk about the scent and other additional information. Very, very impressive glossy finish. Has a very nice even application as well. Slightly a little bit more pigmented, but I think for this shade, out of all the shades today, this is the lightest for the 30%. This type of formula will also work well to apply on top of other lip products. It's kind of thick enough that it's not going to seep into your mouth, so you're not going to taste the product. With the brush, it's also really easy to apply, really easy to control where you want the glossy finish to be. It doesn't get stringy, it just has a little bit of excess product, so just blot it and you should be okay. I can't really smell it because my nose is kind of clogged right now. I'm gonna try my best to smell this. It does have a subtle sweet scent, but it's very mild. You can barely smell it. I'm gonna go ahead and do a transfer test. So you can see it did transfer quite a bit. There's not much of a stain left, but we'll have to see for the other shades, which I will also swatch. And as you'll see, it does kind of feel a little bit sticky, but it is quite moisturizing. Next up, in the same shade, Vanilla. This is in 70% pigmentation. And just another reminder, this is a neutral nude pink color, and it's a light warm shade. This is the gradients look, and compared to the 30% one, it definitely does have more pigmentation. This is sort of a semi-mute color, although it's a light shade. I think for the 30% one, it looks more like a sheer glossy one if you just want like a tinted sheer lip gloss. But this one, you can definitely see more of the shade. This is described as a warm tone shade, but on the hand swatch, I actually think this looks a little bit more cool tone for some reason. It works for warm and cool tone. Maybe a slight coral undertone to make it warm, but overall it does look a little bit more cool tone. The more they apply, the more pink it is going to look. Very beautiful and flattering bunny's tongue pink type of color. I would say this is a semi-mute, semi-light shade because it doesn't have much of a stain. It's not going to oxidize as much. I think this does lean a little bit towards being more of a neutral shade. So similar to Beige, this could work for warm tones and cool tones, which is actually pretty nice because these bunny pink type of colors tend to be more cool toned. I'm going to do another transfer test. And again, you don't see much of a stain. It did transfer quite a lot. Here's a hand comparison with vanilla at the bottom. On top of that is lovely pink from Roman's Glasting Melting Balm, and then we have Peripera's Ink Glowy Tint in 30. I believe it's Happy Berry. Happy Berry is a warm tone shade, lovely pink is cool tone, and we have the warm toned vanilla at the bottom. And I think it looks the most similar to Happy Berry, but for the undertones, quite similar to lovely pink. So that's why I say vanilla is sort of this neutral shade, and it could work for warm tones or cool tones. Happy Berry does oxidize more, so it is going to be a little bit more mute. Next up, this is Scotch in the 30%. And it's described as being a soft cocoa rose color. This is also a warm deep shade. Overall, it does look quite similar to the promotional pictures. You have this rosy brown color. It's not going to be too rosy, but overall it's going to have a warm brown type of color, a little bit similar to Scotch Nude from Roman's Lasting Melting Balm. So I'm going to swatch them later as well. You can see it has a very sheer and light brown tinted color to the lips. Very beautiful shade. I can definitely tell that this is going to have a very long gloss as it claims, and wearing this for about 10 or 15 minutes, it's also still very glossy. It's a little bit unfortunate it doesn't have much of a stain, but the advantage of this product is definitely more of a long-lasting gloss and very glossy finish. For the full look, it's a lot more pigmented than Vanilla, the previous one for the 30%. Very beautiful brown color with a little bit of a rosiness to it, but it is quite subtle. Definitely more of a subtle warm tone brown. It's semi-mute, so it's very flattering for my natural beige skin tone. I personally like the 30% and 70% option. It makes it easier to control the color. It's just me being a little bit picky, but sometimes I want a lighter shade in a certain shade because it's a little bit too mute. So for funsies, let's just do another stain test. And you can see it did transfer quite a bit. So our final conclusion is that this doesn't have much of a stain. All right, this is Scotch in 70%. And again, this is a soft cocoa rose color. It's a deep, warm shade. For the full look of the 30%, it's a little bit similar to that, but maybe a shade or two darker. Very pigmented for the gradients look. Very similar shade and undertone to the 30%. For the full look, we have a more pigmented and deep brown colors. Like, one thing that I realized is that the brush is really nice, really easy to control the color. However, it doesn't pick up as much of the product if you want a full look. So if you do like one swipe, maybe it can cover a very light layer. So you will have to go in a second time if you want a more pigmented color. Just a random TMI that I noticed about the brush. I have Scotch at the bottom and then Scotch Nude on top. A lot of these shades do look quite similar to Roman's Lasting Melting Balm, but you can see they have a very similar brown and a little bit of a rosiness to it. Except this is Currant. This is in the 30% and it's described as being a raspberry muted mauve color. For a change of shade, this is a deep, cool color. Overall, it looks quite similar to the promotional pictures as well. As the name says, this is a mauve color, sort of the sweet potato purple, so it's definitely more of a cool tone shade. This is a pretty common color on the market, so I can definitely think of a few shades that look quite similar to it, which I will swatch later. Regardless, very beautiful, very flattering. Very good pigmentation for the 30%. For the full light, you can see a little bit more of that bright violet purple color. Although this is a deep shade, it actually has a little bit of a brightness to it. Very grape-like purple shade. You can't see the wrinkles on my lips at all. And with that said, it does have like a slight see-through like gloss finish to it, so it's very beautiful. Next up, this is Currant in 70%. Again, this is a raspberry muted mauve color and it's a deep cool shade. Overall, quite similar to 30%. Very beautiful mauve, sweet potato purple color, very grape-like. The full look, the more that you apply, the more vibrant it is going to look. Here's a comparison swatch. At the bottom, I have Currant. On top of that is Grapey Way and then Mauve Whip. It looks a little bit similar to Grapey Way, but Grapey Way does have more purple in it. It's a little bit more mute. It doesn't have much of that violet purple that Currant has. And so I would say it looks a lot closer to Mauve Whip at the top. Very similar in muteness and shade. So this right here is a 30% of Currant and it looks a lot similar to Grapey Way. So I guess Grapey Way is the undertone of Currant and it looks a lot closer to the 30%. Last but not least, this is their 3D changing gloss and it's in the shade Scene Black. Applying this on, it does seem to have a slight purple, like a deep purple undertone to it. However, this is quite sheer, so it's going to kind of blend in with your original lip color. You can sort of this like purple black color and a little mixture of my lip color. It does have a very similar glossy finish. It fills in the wrinkles of the lips to give a very beautiful juicy pout. Similar to any black glossy lip product, it's a little bit difficult to have an even application. For the brush, it does come in a semi-flexible silicone brush. I wish they had the same brush for their 3D voluming gloss because I would think it's a little bit easier to control the color and blend it out. But regardless, I think for a sheer color, it doesn't look too bad. This doesn't have a 30 or 70%, so you're gonna get what you get from this bottle. It's still giving a little bit of that purple black color, and I think it can go a few shades darker than this, but because it is quite sheer and the more they apply, there might be excess product. This is how far I can probably get it to be. Regardless, it is still a little bit pigmented. For women's, the Juicy Lasting Tint, I find that this is a lot more black, like a true black. For this one, it looks more like a purple black. And it's a little bit more sheer as well. For the last swatch, I have seen black at the bottom, and on top of that is Roman's The Juicy Lasting Tint in Blackberry. Similar to what I described earlier, Blackberry is definitely more of like a true black color. And for Seam Black, it's a lot more sheer and does have a little bit more of like a gray, black, slightly purple color to it. For today's lip combo, I'm gonna lip contour with Taupey shade. I'm gonna go with Ginger from BBIA's Last Powder Lipstick. It is a little bit drying, especially in dry, cold climates. I'm gonna go ahead and use vanilla and 30% and just apply it on top. And that is for today's lip combination. It doesn't make the product underneath look powdery, still feels on the wrinkles of your lips, so this product works really well to apply on top of other products. My top picks today are vanilla and 70%, and then Scotch and 30%. The muteness for Scotch 30% is very flattering for my natural beige skin tone. When I'm on the go, really easy to apply and not have to worry about the color control, so I chose 30%. And then vanilla 30% is also a really good shade, but I find it a little bit too light. So if I'm running errands and whatnot, I do prefer 70%. A very beautiful shade. And I also like how this would work well for warm and cool tones, well, in my opinion. Overall, I was really impressed with the glossy finish. It was super glossy. I really like how it fills in the wrinkles of the lips. I can definitely tell it's gonna have a very long-lasting gloss finish. The biggest downside is probably that it doesn't have much of a stain. Really hoping that they come with products that have a really good stain. Other than that, that's all for today's video, and I will see you in the next video.